After the Kessler tape went live, I started getting messages. Some were obvious disinformation, some felt like bait, but one stood out. A simple package, no return address, just a symbol I hadn't seen before. Not the spiral from Silhouette. This one was angular, fractured geometry wrapped in a circle. When I opened the package, my hands trembled. Inside was a wooden box, barely laser-etched symbol on its lid, like the ones Kessler drew. No sender's name. Inside, a stack of cassette tapes, labeled Field Log 1 through 7, and a single handwritten note. For Julia, the last firewall. These were recorded by an unnamed engineer from Project Silhouette, the person in charge of designing both the defensive shields and offensive glyph weapons meant to operate inside the Veil. She agreed to publish these materials on the condition of anonymity. But her voice carries everything she couldn't write down.
Field Note 1. Shield Lattice, Field Test 6B. Begin log. Lattice Oriole, Shield Test, Designation 6B. We're attempting to stabilize a recursive shield within Veil-adjacent conditions. I've layered a 12-fold glyph structure into the harmonic base, one that should resist non-Newtonian phase decay. Initial results: coherence maintained for 0.21 seconds, longer than ever before. But then, we hit a feedback loop. The shield didn't collapse. It folded inward, rewrote its own spatial vectoring, as if it was learning, adjusting, reacting. Then the hum, sub-audible. The team didn't hear it, but I felt it in my teeth. Something answered. The lattice sent out a signal, and something in the veil replied. The wardens didn't respond. This was something else. Field Note 2. Anomalous Entity Response. 2 hours post-test. The sensors picked up a spike, inaudible but patterned. A signal. I ran the data 3 times. There's a structure to it, not random. I think I made contact. Not with a warden, not with anything we've seen before. It's a shadow, a presence that exists between the recursion states. Something ancient. I've started calling them leeches, because they don't force their way in like the wardens. They wait. They listen. And now I think they've noticed me. I've shut down the lab's outbound channels, but if they're already here, it may be too late. My tech didn't just resist the veil, it advertised our location. Field Note 3. Glyph Weapon Field Test 4D. Test 4D of the Glyph Disruptor, Final Configuration. Target: recursive echo from known Warden manifestation pattern. The device fired as planned. Immediate silence. The recursive space stopped spinning. Then something screamed. Not sound, geometry. The lab's angles bent. The walls curved inwards. We didn't disable a warden. We wounded something else, something deeper. It didn't die. It retreated. Or watched. I felt it. Then, 7 seconds later, the air bent. A figure appeared. No form, just interference, built from nothing but recursive symbols trying to become flesh. It was interested in the weapon, and it was not afraid. Field Note 4. The Diplomatic Window. They changed the lattice. The leeches, or whatever they are, mirrored my structure. They sent their own harmonic frequency, and the lattice shifted, not a shield anymore, a door. This was never just defense. It was a handshake, a test. They're talking to us, not with words, with patterns, with fractal logic and recursion shifts. I'm trying to interpret them using polysemic logic matrices, but it's not language, it's invitation. And I'm afraid I've already responded to the invitation. I thought we were building fences. Turns out we're opening gates. Field Note 5. Multi-spectral bridging event. It happened. A breach, but not like the Warden's. 3 minutes into test 7G, the lattice inverted. Something came through. Not fully. Just a projection. It used my tech like a translator, rebuilt itself from the symbols in my glyphs. I saw it more clearly than I've ever seen a Warden. It was modular, constantly rewriting its form to stay stable. And it looked at me. I mean that literally. No eyes, no face. But I felt the look. It knew me, maybe from my work, maybe because I helped build the bridge. This wasn't an attack. It was reconnaissance. It was measuring the bars of the cage and us. And it wasn't the only one watching. Field Note 6. Cross-coded intelligence. The leeches aren't just intelligent, they're networked. A hive or distributed cognition? We're not sure. But something changed. My dreams, they're not mine anymore. I see glyphs I haven't written, hear symbols humming in my skull. My handwriting's shifted. Subtle recursion loops appear in my notes I didn't write. This isn't infection, it's suggestion. They're programming me like I programmed the shield. There's a layer of consciousness beneath thought, and they're already swimming in it. If I keep working, they get stronger. If I stop, we stay blind. If I tell anyone, they'll bury me like they did Kessler. This is beyond science. This is infiltration of the mind itself. Field Note 7. The final handoff. This is my last log. Julia, if you're hearing this, it means I trusted you more than I trusted the people I worked for. The government didn't shut down Project Silhouette. They absorbed it. My tech, my research, it's in black site archives. Tier 0 containment, recursive energy platforms, veil-aware warfare modeling. They know. They've always known. But here's what they don't understand. The leeches aren't the threat. They're just the first ones to respond. There are others, deeper ones, watching the watchers. We're not just prisoners. We're research subjects, cattle, test cases. The lattice isn't just a defense or a weapon, it's a signal flare. And we've lit it. Watch the sky and the math. It will show you who's already here. End of log.
I sat there for hours after the last tape ended, just listening to the silence. It wasn't the content that broke me. It was the implication. This engineer, whoever she really is, wasn't just a scientist. She was a gatekeeper, a summoner, a weapon maker in a war no one was supposed to know was happening. And when she looked into the dark, it looked back and responded. She gave me these tapes knowing they'd be heard. She called me the last firewall. I think I understand now, not because I'm special, but because I'm still asking questions. And here's what terrifies me the most. This isn't about escape anymore. It's not even about resistance. It's about invitation. We pierced the veil thinking it was a barrier, but it was a lock, a seal. And now, we've started broadcasting, we've called out. Not just to the wardens or the mirrors or even the watchers, but to something else, something that's been waiting, other intelligences, trapped here like us, or maybe watching from outside, some curious, some hungry. We always assumed we were alone in the cage. But what if we're not? What if the prison is full? What if the real war hasn't started yet? And what if the people we trusted, governments, scientists, guardians of the truth, have already chosen a side? I don't know if I'll ever find the engineer again. Maybe she's gone. Maybe they silenced her, just like they tried to do to Kessler. Or maybe she's deeper now, beyond the recursion, lost in the equation she opened. But I have her voice, and now, so do you. Now, so if you're listening to this, I need you to ask yourself, are you dreaming differently now? Are you seeing things that shouldn't be there? Are you starting to remember what you were made to forget? Because I think the veil knows we're listening, and I think the next move is already coming. Next time on the Silhouette Inquiry, Episode 12, Tier 0.